Welcome to the Intentional Queen Podcast Journey to Restoration with Jineen. Hey, boo, hey. I'm your host. I'm Jineen R. Huff. As a resilient strategist, an author, a mom, a coach, a transformational speaker, and award-winning nurse leader who has personally beat burnout twice and came back, I created this space just for you. The ambitious moms, the nurses, the nurse leaders, and high-achieving women in high-stress roles. Why? Because if you're ready to break free from burnout, reclaim your harmony in life, love, and leadership, and not to mention motherhood, you are in the right place. I want you to have resilience, and I want you to choose yourself more. My book called I Choose Me, The Intentional Guide to Never Losing Yourself Again, was the breakthrough point, and now you're here. In each episode, we explore mindset shifts, empowering truths, and real stories grounded in my signature Bloom framework, right? Because you got to grow to keep going, okay? It's all designed to help you rise without losing yourself. Thank you for pressing play, and let's get into today's conversation. Hey, boo, hey, welcome back to the current episode of Intentional Queen Podcast with your host, Jineen. I'm so excited for you guys to be here. Today, we're going to be jumping in. Choosing yourself is a leadership decision. And more than anything, it's a self-leadership decision. That's something that I really want you to know. So what we're going to really be nailing in here that I want you to think about is about high-achieving women don't struggle with motivation. And I'm saying we, because we struggle with permission, right? We struggle with the permission to rest, to pause, to say no, all those type of things, right? Choosing yourself feels risky when you're used to being the strong one. So shout out to the strong ones, because y'all been telling me through the recent articles and things that I have been doing, shouting out influential women. And then I want to talk about burnout doesn't start with the breakdown, right? We don't just hit the wall all of a sudden. There were so many little cues that led up to that. And most of the time, it starts with self-abandonment, or as I say, self-neglect, okay? So this is what we're really going to be talking about. What belief is driving our burnout? That's really where I want to answer today. And it's going to be, remember, as we know, we're shaped by the Bloom signature framework. And one of the things that I talk about in the first part of the framework is believing in yourself, and that shapes our behavior because your thoughts lead to feelings that lead to actions that lead to results. So depending on how you talking to yourself, depending on what you're saying and how it's going, that's how you got there. And if we really don't do assessment on how did I get here, then you really won't get to a space where you look at it from a systemic approach, right? A lot of times when we're looking at self-care or ways solutions, they're not sustainable because we're looking at them as quick fixes and not really looking at them as sustainable solutions. And that's where I want to mindset shift you today of how choosing yourself is a leadership strategy, but it's also a self-leadership strategy that when you become the first domino, you start showing up for yourself. It gives people the permission for them to do it too, because I'm looking out here in these internet streets, some of my past clients, some of the places that I've been and spoke, these people are traveling the world like, Janine, I didn't know the permission to pause would feel like this. And I'm saying to myself, go, because see, we clap for each other around here. There is no competition when you hanging out with me. The only time you're going to see me competing is with myself. And when I see other people winning, it brings a smile to my face. I've never been a hater. I just don't live by that code. But I love the fact of seeing other women learn how to choose themselves. And that's what brings it home when we talk a little bit deeper, because a lot of us think rest must be earned. That's a false narrative, because it doesn't have to be earned. It has to be at a point where you learn that it's a part of the system, right? It's a part of the structure. That's a part of your daily living. We have to make this like I had a personal trainer probably about 5-6 years ago, but it becomes a lifestyle. Like rest becomes a lifestyle. You have to be able to plug it in, and you got to know when you're going, and you got to know when you're resting. And that's kind of hard for a high achiever when we don't want to let people down. You hear what I'm saying? If this is you, then go ahead and nod. I feel you. And so then we look at it as strength. Strength equals we pushing through. That's not really what we want to do. No more push through the thing, because you're going to push yourself right into a wall or off a cliff. That's what I say. And so I hit the wall twice. Burnout was so unsexy for me, but this is what I want somebody to understand. It's that ramp up. Like when you hit burnout and you get so depleted, it comes a point where you get like so depleted that to get your engine back going, it takes a little bit more time. Like you need more rest for recharge, and instead of just putting those pockets in. And a lot of times people think it's cliche, but it's nothing like the permission to pause, however that looks for you. But when you push through everything, it's to your detriment. Next thing you know, you got ailments and problems and stress, your nervous system. That's a whole nother thing. I don't want to get scientific and medical in here, but there's things when you read about cortisol levels and stress, and especially for women. And as we're getting into Women's Heart Month and the AHA, which is American Heart Association, women do not show stress and heart attacks the same way men do. We show it through ailments, pains, abdominal, gas, things along that nature, right? And don't let you be getting ready to get into the other phases of lives, hormonal changes. We just be like, oh, it's nothing. And we end up finding ourselves with all types of problems, high blood pressure, strokes, all types of stuff. So that push through culture is not what we're doing here. Right. And this is our year of execution. So I really want you to think about it as we're going to be talking about how can we take action to do better, right? And how can we move with momentum? How can we bloom, right? And how are we going to be filling in these gaps? And so leadership does not mean you have to self-sacrifice. We do not have to sacrifice ourselves on the line to be leading. And a lot of times people think leadership means you need to be carrying that badge that says I'm a manager or a CEO or I'm a this or I'm a that. No, you just being you. You are the leader of yourself. That's why I said this is a self-leadership strategy, because you could be leading a home. You could be doing so much. There's so many things you lead that you don't even know. And it starts from within you, but we have to be mindful of the culture that we're shifting, right? And we need a system for that, because it is very hard to push against the grain when you're in systems that don't have sustainable solutions set up for you and for you to thrive. And one thing people talk about burnout so much is just it's so much into the nurse culture, of course. But even when I speak to my moms and I'm doing my coaching and all those things, burnout, most of the time when I'm speaking to the people, it's that high functioning burnout. Like we be looking crazy, but we showing up productive. We everywhere doing all the things, saying yes, pushing through, carrying all the balls, and wondering why we are stressed to the core. And you look so good. And what I mean by you look so good, people be like, you fine? You be like, yeah. But on the inside, it's a no. It's a no. And so learning how we can feel safe to even have that conversation. I was reading a recent article from a university, and they was just talking about how men feel very comfortable talking about their burnout or their mental wellness, and women feel nervous to tell their leadership. The difference was crazy. I think the men were like 60% and the women were like 30% feel comfortable. I'm guesstimating because I don't have it in front of me right now, but it definitely was distinguishable to know that women struggle to say they struggle. And this is where you start performing while being disconnected from yourself, and it's acceptable, right? It turns into the I'm fine culture. And not to mention if you're a black or brown girl, because when we black or brown, that just turns into a whole nother conversation, because we've been trained through generations that, you suck this thing up, buttercup, and let's go time. And we want to change some of that narrative. We don't want people being fluffy and not taking action. Now, there's a difference, because some people swing one way or the other. And this is not what this conversation is about, you choosing yourself in a selfish way. It is making sure that you're maintaining. Because, see, I was raised from this one-liner right here. It's easier to maintain than to start over. Okay? And so if we maintain our health, it is easier than keep hitting brick walls and starting all over, right? And when you look at the concept of, they had like a big boulder, right? Let's put it into concepts of memes or things along that nature. You had that big boulder. It is easier to keep the boulder moving than it is to start it after it has stopped. That is what I want you to think about when we talk about burnout from that angle, because burnout is about how you think about it, right? Because your thoughts lead to feelings that lead to results. And we are all about executing results this year. And I'm always talking about your capacity. Now, we're going to put a little plug in here and we're going to clap. You hear me clapping in the back? Yes, y'all. I choose me, the intentional guide to never losing yourself. Again, we are 2 years old this month. It's self love month. It's also plant the seeds of greatness. And so 2 years ago, I went on a mission to help you guys, and you guys blessed me by saying, Janine, you need to put a book together and some programs. And so I went on and executed those things over the last few years. The book turned two. We're hundreds of copies sold. We're global, and we're over 35 plus Amazon book reviews based off of you guys. So this is my plug to you. Go get the book. If you want the collector's edition where I send it and you get a small gift, you can definitely buy that at buyichoosemebook.com, buyichoosemebook.com. But I know some people prefer to go to Amazon because you want to have that thing primed in 48 hours. So if that's you, boo, do you. But let's go ahead and push this book because, my goal and my mission has been 1 million people to no longer suffer in silence related to resilience and burnout. And so we pushing this mission, and I'm very into that, and I am led by God. So when I talk about as a kingdom woman, these are things that I want to see people do better, and these are coming from lived experience and from insights that I've learned along the way, backed by some data. Okay, so make sure you get that. And when I was on a recent interview, they asked me about the book. So I'll go ahead and put a little plug here about the book because you want to know what you're getting. It's not a memoir. Number one, it's not like my story. What I wanted when I wrote the book is, I wrote it in 3 sections, and I talk about it from, like we said, the caterpillar to the cocoon work to the butterfly. It is more like a workbook, or it reads more like a guide. So you need your notebook. I will tell you to go get your pen. I want you to do it because it teaches you strategies. It teaches you strategies. That's why I want people to understand. We could talk about this till we're blue in the face, but if we're not putting things into action, right? If we're not going through the Bloom framework, then we're not doing what we need to do and moving with momentum, right? Our goal is to go from burnout to harmony. And this is where the belief starts. And so when you want to do better, and you tell yourself, I want to, right? That's that positive, sexy self-talk. Then that's when you go ahead and you start with the book. We also have the positive, sexy talk checklist that is at intentionalqueenjourney.com, and you can get that for free. And that is a good accelerator as well to complement the book. But we definitely gonna commemorate that thing because, if you ain't celebrating yourself, you wrong, right? We celebrate even our little wins and our big ones, okay? So choosing yourself isn't quitting. We recalibrating for self-leadership. Let's move on because, we not here to talk all day. We got things to do. And what I want to talk about here, because now we want to shift through, right? We talked a little bit about how we got there, okay? Why we got there. And now it's like, what we do now, right? What's the transformation? What do we need to shift mindset-wise? And first thing is choosing yourself as a self-leadership decision. So letting go of that guilt, that frustration, that anger, okay? Knowing in your mind it's not selfish, and figuring out how it can be sustainable. Of how can we do that? What does that look like for you, right? It's just one mindset shift. It could be one boundary. It could be having one good conversation with somebody who holds you accountable. It could be saying no to something. These are all little baby steps, right? That lead to giant leaps. And this is something that will catapult you into your next season, because I was having a conversation with another client, and she said something to me that, this is something to dive deeper in. And she said, I get so overwhelmed because I have so many thoughts, so many things I want to do. And then I look at it and I say, I'm not going to move forward. And I said, I want you to pick one. Because see, when we look at our wheel of life and we look at our whole life and we want to just do a complete overhaul, and as a high functioning person, you want to keep all the balls in the air. And I told her, I really want you to focus on one or two. And really, for how overwhelmed she was, I said, you need to work on one of the things, one of the pillars that you're really struggling with, because that will give you motivation. And so she was like, well, I work out all the time. I do. I said, I want you to think of it that same way, right? Your brain is a muscle just like your body. And so she hitting that gym now to get that body back right. And so what I said to her is, think of it that same way. You feel off when you're not going. So at the same time, I want you to create something for this other goal that you're working on. That's micro habits, right? Baby steps lead to giant leaps. And she started choosing herself because at the end of the day, if she just works a little bit at it at a time, because you also got to think about what type of thinker are you? It will show. You will become a domino. How do I know that? Because I've seen it in real life. People now know what I mean when I say I need you to move with purpose. They put it on a whole scrub hat for me because they heard me say it. Like at the end of the day, you become the beacon of light. Now, I just want somebody to know, okay, for the person in the back, even when you start choosing yourself, okay, there are going to be people who are upset with you. There are going to be people coming for you. Now, you don't got to send back. Now, we talked about that in some of the past episodes. Just because they come sending for you don't mean you got to send back. Okay, petty Betty, don't do it. Don't do it, because I know you out here. I'm talking to you. Don't do it. But I'm laughing because I want to keep things light. And like I said, speaking to my recent clients lately, like they've been heavy. They've been crying. They've been heavy. And so I try to find a way to keep it light, because it's very easy for you to get into a woe is me, and then you beat yourself up. And then are we moving? Right? Are we moving with momentum? No. Are you even starting? Right? And so when we really get to the self-belief that you're not the only one, it's okay. And we're no longer going to suffer in silence. We just going to baby step this thing, because I'm here. I'm holding your hand. Okay. And you now have tools. The question is, are you using your tools? So as we wind up, as I want you to think here, is where have you been leading from obligation instead of alignment? Because see, it's all about alignment. And choosing yourself for what your body or your life requires right now. Because a lot of us are in perfectionism. It's got to be right all the time, 100%. So learning how to live in gray, not black and white. That's hard for some of y'all out there. I know there is a such thing as a little gray. I got a little gray. And what I mean by a little gray is black and white mean it's got to be this way or that way. When you put a little bit of gray in there, it helps you to give more grace. Okay. And when you can give yourself grace, you can end up giving grace to others. And when you start talking sexy to yourself, it allows you to be more open to making the baby step. But I do want you to count talking sexy to yourself as a step. Does that make sense? I hope that does. So I didn't want to ramble too much, but I want to give you all this closure. As I said, I want you to think about, where have you been leading from obligation instead of alignment? And so that you know that when you are choosing yourself, it's a self-leadership decision, right? And now you know what belief is driving your burnout. Which one is it for you? I want to thank you, Queen, for investing your time in yourself and in your journey to restoration with me as your host. You know why? Because I hope today's conversation has left you feeling inspired and better equipped for this week ahead with harmony and resilience. Because remember what I tell you, when you are good, they are good. New episodes air every other Thursday. So be sure to follow and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so you never miss a moment. And if you're really feeling us, I want you to leave us a review so you can help us with our mission to grow and reach more women globally, because we are doing big things and you are a part of this community, and I want us all to grow. The conversation doesn't even have to stop here, because you my girl and I want you to hang around. So you can connect with us at our Supportive Bloom community and get resources and exclusive updates when you go to our website at www.intentionalqueenjourney.com. Once again, www.intentionalqueenjourney.com, and you will get our community. You will get the positive, free, sexy talk checklist that you need, and you can just join the email list. So do that today. And you can also find us on our social media pages at Instagram at Intentional Queen Journey, or definitely go over and check out our YouTube channel at Jineen R. Huff TV, where there's over 500 videos of binge-worthy content just for you. And finally, if you found this value in this podcast, please share it with a queen in your life, and consider, like I said, leaving a review. Your support helps this message reach more women who are ready to reclaim their power and bloom in confidence, love, leadership. So until next time, keep blooming, level up your intentional queen to a better you, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.